Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now, Conor Benn and Eubank Jr., that grudge match that was initially canceled as a result of Conor Benn testing positive for clomiphene, look like it's back on. And if you ask me, I personally think Conor Benn is going to lose. I think Eubank Jr. is going to tranquilize him. They're contracted weight for 160. I think they're trying to get a rehydration clause for 170 pounds, so a 10-pound rehydration clause. But I just don't think that Conor Benn stands a chance. I understand he wants to defend his family's name and everything, but this is one of those fights where he's either going to get KO'd by Eubank Jr. or he's going to get KO'd by another failed Ped test. Now, both of these guys are British, so it's an all-British boxing match. And there are a lot of people who are kind of split on this. Now, if you don't know the history, Eubank Jr. Dad, Chris Eubank, and Conor Benn's dad, Nigel Benn, fought, years ago, where Chris Eubank Jr.'s dad came back in that fight and got the win. That fight was back and forth. And it was very ferocious. And we truly believe that Conor Benn and Eubank Jr. is going to be another one of those fights where it's going to be truly ferocious. But I just think Eubank Jr. is going to use his jab, his boxing ability, and he's just going to make the fight simple and eventually tranquilize a frustrated, much smaller, but, big heart and big mouth Conor Benn. Now, some people are unclear as far as where the fight was supposed to take place, but the fight's going to take place in London. It's supposed to happen pretty soon, in April. Now, I'm looking at the inactivity of both guys. Neither one have been fighting 3 to 4 times a year. But I just, when it comes to Eddie Hearn and Turki Al-Sheikh, I just wonder what would make them. Well, I understand Turki Al-Sheikh because of his health. He isn't worried about these guys having tune-up fights. He wants to see the fight now. He's going to put his money up and make the fight. But initially I was like, why would he make this fight with these two guys? But then again, they're like, look, it's been 30 years since their fathers fought. We're going to get this fight across the line. Now, my understanding is these guys who have seemed to go on to become, pretty stringent British rivalries, kind of like how the fathers were. It looks like there was some big money put on the table. And some people don't think Conor Benn deserves it. There are some who also feel that Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't deserve it. Now, I don't know how much money they're making, but I would believe that it's probably above $10 million apiece, maybe more. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the fans think. It's really what the fans think is a little bit, but it's what Turki Al-Sheikh wants, man. And for us in America, we may not understand the significance of this fight, but out in the UK, I'm telling you, man, the entire country is up in arms and excitement over this fight. Now, the fact that he got it signed, I mean, you're talking about after a 2-year battle with Conor Benn being suspended, man. And let me tell you, Eddie Hearn couldn't have done this on his own. He may come out here and say, we got this done. Eddie Hearn didn't get shit done. It was Turki Al-Sheikh that made this happen. Eddie Hearn he doesn't have the financial ammunition, you understand, to let off, to make these kind of fights happen. He just doesn't have it. Eddie Hearn has come out and admitted to not wanting to put a certain amount of money up for fighters who he feels, there's no guaranteed return on them. So Eddie Hearn, without Turki Al-Sheikh, almost all these fights wouldn't be happening. But the bottom line is Eddie Hearn had nothing to do with this. It's Turki Al-Sheikh. Now, the one thing I'll point out as far as Conor Benn's best chance of winning this fight is if Chris Eubank Jr. got old overnight. He's 35, will be 36. And I understand the weight class plays to the advantage of Eubank Jr. I understand as far as level of activity kind of plays to the advantage of Eubank Jr. Being comfortable at that weight plays to the advantage of Eubank Jr. When it comes to the age now, that plays to the advantage of Conor Benn. But at the end of the day, I'm still not sure if Conor Benn, although he's fought twice in the United States while he was provisionally suspended, that's Eddie Hearn finding loopholes to keep Conor Benn somewhat active. I'm not sure if his move up from welterweight, from 147, 154 to 160. I'm not sure if that, even with Eubank Jr. being senior to him, I don't know if that's going to be enough for Conor Benn to pull off the upset. Now, the one thing about Conor Benn that I want to mention, when he first started fighting as a professional, where is it? We might as well look at it together, right? Because I remember watching the fight where he almost got tranquilized in the first round. And I was like, damn, what happened to him? He came out looking so strong, looking so good. But let's just take a look at this, right? Right here. Okay, so his first fight, he had a TKO. Then he won on points and KO, points, KO, KO. These are TKOs, KO, points. TKO, unanimous decision, points, KO, unanimous decision, KO, unanimous decision, KO. Now this is where you got to start paying attention to things here. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Right here. When he fought Samuel Vargas, right? He knocked him out in the first round. Now, that blew my mind, the way he knocked him out, okay? Some people still feel the referee kind of helped him out there, but that was the fight, for me, that really put him on the map. Because he fought a guy before that where he went life and death over 10 rounds, Sebastian Formella. But once he beat Vargas, then he went up and he fought Granados. And he went unanimous decision over 10. Because Granados was boxing and avoiding him, but he was just coming at him with the power. Then he fought Chris Algieri, someone who's never really been hurt like that in the fight, and was able to just totally walk through him. Then he fought Chris Van Herden. Right? This is after he came back off. This is where they fought out there in England, and he was able to get him out of there in 2 rounds. Okay, and that just blew my mind how he was able to come and just knock these guys out like that. Anyway, he got himself in some trouble. Then Eddie Hearn was actually able to help him come back to boxing. That's where after Van Herden, he was supposed to fight Chris Eubank Jr. Things didn't work out. Anyway, he comes back, goes there with Rodolfo Orozco, went to a decision. Then he fought Peter Dobson, went to a decision. But the thing about these decisions, right, is you weren't seeing Conor Benn have back-to-back decisions. Okay, now, I got to be honest, you're talking about 154 pounds and 150 pounds, and you look at his fights before that were 147 pounds, so fighting bigger guys, but this is what's creating so many problems for Conor Benn, is like, what happened to the power? Because before that, he had a nice little stretch going where he was able to clip Vargas, get a decision over Granados, who ran the whole fight, knock out Algieri, knock out Van Herden. Guys who you just wouldn't have expected him to clip the way he did. That being said, we're going to see what happens in this fight with Chris Eubank Jr. If Conor Benn wasn't able to do the business at 154, what makes y'all think he's going to be able to do the business at 160 against a guy like Chris Eubank Jr.? Whether you like Chris Eubank Jr. or not, he's got speed, he's got power, and he can box. He does keep his hands down low, which I think is dumb, but he can get away with it. I just know Conor Benn's going to come in there 100% all gas, no brakes, and he's going to give it his all. But I just have a feeling he's going to run into a stiff jab all night. You're going to see him get frustrated, and he's not going to be able to make adjustments. You saw with Devin Haney when he fought Ryan Garcia. Look, that fight is what it is, but Devin didn't make the adjustments. And you get some fighters who they just can't make adjustments in fights. They just, if things aren't going their way, they don't make adjustments. Canelo Alvarez is another fighter. If things aren't going his way in the fights that he lost, he wasn't really able to make adjustments. And with Conor Benn, I haven't seen anything to make me believe he's a fighter who can make adjustments. He has a game plan. It is what it is. And if he's forced to deviate from it, he seems to be lost. There are fighters like that can do that and creates that separation. We can talk about the Crawfords. We can talk about the Floyd Mayweathers. You can talk about the Danny Garcias. You can talk about the Earl Smith. These are guys who can Bang, who can box, who become boxer punchers, like they can do a little bit of everything, and you see them making adjustments in the ring. I don't think Conor Benn is at that level. So if he gets in there with Eubank Jr., Eubank Jr. can control him with the jab. I think Eubank Jr. wins the fight easily and possibly knocks him around 7 or 8 with the right hand he doesn't see on the uppercut that Conor Benn doesn't see because he's short anyway. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Conor Benn will get killed by Eubank Jr. Or he gets desperate, tries to sneak and take another goddamn banned substance, and he'll pop hot. And that'll just really make him and Eddie Hearn and just look horrible. Horrible. I hope that doesn't happen, though. Anyway, keep cool. I'm in the breeze.